Call the meetings in order of Vicksburg County School District Board of Trustees. We welcome all educators and guests today. Glad to see a good crowd. We'll ask Bishop Edward Knight, pastor of Greater Mount Zion Baptist Church, to give our invocation. Reverend Knight, we're glad to have you.
Let's bow our heads. God and Father, this is the day that we come to say, Lord, we thank you for blessing and keeping us. We pray to God as we are assembled tonight, that we assemble in one accord. For you declare where 2 or 3 are assembled in your name, touching and agreeing, you'll be there in the midst. Oh, Master, if there's ever been a time that we need you right now. I pray now, to God, that you will bless those that you have given the assignment, the task to God, to educate these, our children. I ask that you will just bless this meeting, to God, allow them to come together with a platform that is going to be beneficial for your glory, the advancement of your kingdom. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Knight, for joining us today, and we appreciate your support of our public schools.
Bishop Knight even showed up yesterday to pray for us twice. Appreciate it.
You can come tomorrow too. We might be able to
Tell them I need it all, leave it throw it all away.
Once a month isn't always enough.
All right. Our board president, James Sturgis, is out of town at a conference, so I will fill in for him tonight. My name is Joe Levives, and I'm the vice president. We'll start by adopting the agenda. After our board reviews it, we'll look for a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. We have our agenda and it's printed and available to you. This may sound unusual to you, but I moved from one district to the other recently after my first wife passed away, and I remarried and moved into another district. So under the rules of the school board operations of Mississippi, I must resign. Now, I'm not saying I want to resign. I'm saying I must resign. I've been into the school system in some capacity for over 50 years, and it's been a great privilege working with the children of Warren County and Vicksburg. I hate to leave you, but I'm going to have to. You have my support. I'll still be associated on the fringes. I'm on the advisory board at Hines Community College, and I also teach part-time at Mississippi State. So I'll be around, and if I can help the schools in any way, that's what I want to do. At this time, we will call for nominations for Vice President of the Board of Trustees.
Before we do that, Mr. Leviza, I'd like to make a public statement.
Okay.
Joe Leviza has been a fountain for those of us that sit on this board. He knows more about 16th section land than any of us know, and the next time we have a meeting on that, you better make sure you're in the audience so you can correct every one of us on what piece of property we're talking about. Mr. Leviza served as a mayor for our fine community. He has worked tirelessly to support the bond issue and to support us. I know that Chad feels like he's got a guy in his corner with Joe on the board, and as a board member, I hope that we can find somebody that cares as much about the city and as much about these kids as you do. You're going to be hard to replace, Mr. Joe, and I love you.
We might bounce a little back for in just a second, but I think everybody may have an opportunity to say something before Mr. Joe gets out.
I wasn't planning this.
I'd like to salute Mr. Joe on his military. He's a veteran. Also, my first job, 1965, was working with Mr. Joe in the schools in the NYS program in the summertime.
Are you aiding it like I
am? Of course, but
he's a good one now, folks.
He's a great man, very knowledgeable, and very compassionate. And I would love to say to you, good, better, best. You never let it rest. To your good is better, and your better is best. God bless you.
So, any of y'all voted my district?
So, Mr. Joe, you've been around a long time,
Long time.
and I haven't. But this man can recite everyone's pedigree in this world. Before Ancestry.com, if you're in front of a group of people, I'm pulling out my wallet to find out who I am. But Mr. Joe can tell them everyone's name, where they went to school, who their mother was, their grandmother was, and is a constant statesman whenever he's speaking. He's also been a passionate supporter of vocational education.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I believe in it, folks. I taught at Warren Central 4 years. I taught at Vicksburg High 10 years. And I was a district supervisor for over 40 years. So I've been around there, and I appreciate what you're doing.
All right, one more. I thought just let's go ahead. I'm going to tell you, Mr. Joe was one of the first people in this district that stepped up and made me a part of this community. He wanted my family to be a part of this community. He took me fishing. He took me hunting. For this redneck boy, I promise you, I fell right in line with that. Not only is he my boss, or 1/5 of my boss and a board member, but he's my friend. And he has been beside me. He's helped me. He's helped me navigate a historical context of this district like no other, because he's seen a little bit more of it than most of us. But I can tell you this, anybody that's 80 years old, I love to say I like to get around like he does when I'm 80. I don't know that I get around like he does now, but I'll tell you this, anybody who's given well over 80 years of their life in service to this community is an asset to this community and this board. And we're going to miss you.
Real privilege working with the children of Vicksburg and Warren County.
Next on the
Mr.
agenda,
Attorney?
I'm stepping up temporarily, but next on the agenda is the election of a vice president. Since Joe Leviza was the vice president, we have to elect someone to be the new vice president, and they will immediately assume the responsibilities of the presidency tonight in the absence of our regular president, Jim Sturgis.
Mr. Attorney, I'd like to make the nomination of Sally Bullock.
I'd like to second that.
It's a motion and a second to nominate Sally Bullard as vice president. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Ms. Bullard, you are now the vice president, and you will assume the leadership of this board meeting tonight.
All right, y'all, it might be a little bumpy ride. We'll just see what we do. Hey, this chair sits there.
We're going to swap it out before Jim gets back.
All right, I'd like to, Mr. Secretary, the minutes from last board meeting.
Yes, board members, you've been presented your minutes from the last board meeting, regular scheduled board meeting of August, Tuesday, 27th. Are there any additions or deletions to the minutes?
Not seeing any. Can we have a vote, please?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes for the August 27th meeting as presented.
Second.
We have a vote, right?
Right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Superintendent?
All right. Been an eventful month. We had a recognition because Coach has his town hall meetings, and we had Connie West that came out and spoke and did a great job. I want to make sure that we thanked her for that service. Rave reviews. We had our first set of tours in September. We had a good crew that came in. We actually had 2 more visits apart from the Tuesday tour. It's always awesome to be able to turn around and see the impact that we're having all across not just this state, but other states. And every group is a different group, but we have averaged. I think our largest group was around 400. Our smallest group was around 25, 30. So consistently, we're seeing every month people that are coming to talk about what's happening here in Vicksburg. So it adds to the 3,000 plus number every time we have a month that rolls by. We had I'm not going to bore you with those. We did do school walkthroughs. We're consistently doing these, and we've set up actually a principal, like the kids have their classrooms. We've got a principal one now. So their superintendent has got a Google Classroom that's out there. We're putting those post and we're sharing. Equity has become the topic as it relates to our principals. Our principals actually have an accountability partner who is another principal and a member of the curriculum team now that helps implement their strategic plan, who gives feedback. They're also cross-visiting and doing professional tours or professional development tours with each other and learning from each other. So, that's the effort to ensure that it doesn't matter what zip code or what school zone you fall in, you've got equity of instruction that's occurring across the district. So I'm really proud of the way that's occurred. So we had a long meeting. The instructional plans are in. You will see those out on the website after you approve those tonight. We had our ethical leadership for equity, which was a great narrative. We were able to talk through ethics and how you make decisions. And I think one of the most interesting ethics conversation wasn't just what you do wrong, it's what you fail to do that's right. And when you start talking about what we need to do for kids, omitting those things we need to do is just as wrong as making bad decisions. So we were able to meet with the group and talk through a lot of good information with that ethical leadership training. We actually met with over the phone with Good Shepherd Community Center. We're trying to talk about some ways for us to navigate our partnership, and you may get some more feedback on that. We had the grand opening of the Job Win Center on Hines Community College's campus, and that's a pretty big deal. We put the stake in the ground that all education leads to employment, and we've blurred the lines between Hines Community College and William Carey and Alcorn and Mississippi State, and it's all about our kids. And when you start talking about bringing the Win Job Center on site in Hines now, we currently have our students who are filling out the job centers who now are available for hire immediately upon graduation, which is one of our E's. So in that, it also brings this community of work together where we can give the ebb and flow of what we need to do that's best for this community as well as the students that we serve. Got to speak at the Mayor's Faith-Based Community Development Breakfast. Coach Stevens also presented at that. It was a good moment for us to come together and realize that we're all on the same team. The partnerships grow every day. I think it's the most amazing thing about this community is we really are one. It's a big back porch. We're all interested in doing what's right. We can all voice our opinions very strongly, but at the end of the day, we want a better Vicksburg. And we were able to share that with some of our faith-based community leaders. And then we had a meeting with Southern Outdoors Unlimited. Be alert. We're sending out a peach jar, I'll get it right at some point, a peach jar virtual flyer, thank you, that has the ability for our kids to be able to participate in free hunts who have disabilities. So we want to make sure that we send that out so that everybody has access to that, and then we'll be placing that out there. It was a great service, doesn't cost the kids a dime, and even in conversation with them, I don't think it's a secret that I've got one who has a disability that keeps him doing for a lot of things that normal kids get to do. And one of the things that we discussed was, I was like, I don't know that he's ready for a gun. He said, well, there's 3 days he can go pull up grass, run around, chase deer, go fishing, eat, sleep, whatever he wants to do. This is 3 days dedicated with 2 adults doing nothing but catering to his needs. So that is open to the public, and the more the merrier. And I mentioned, with my particular son, I'd hate to take anybody else's slide on it. And he said, nope, don't worry about that. We've got plenty of landowners, especially in Vicksburg. He said this is one of the places that has a lot of opportunities because this is a very giving community. So that'll be coming out. That'll update me. Yes, ma'am.
We are on to bond project updates. Mr. Bailey. I see some dirt shoveling around.
A lot of dirt, a lot of dust, a lot of dirt. Thank God it's not raining, so that's a good thing. You should have your monthly update in front of you. It has Bailey Program Management on the top of it. I'm going to scroll through several of these items and give you a couple of updates and a couple of action items. Starting on the front page, Vicksburg High School is continuing to make amazing progress, actually. this is a big contractor, and they're acting big. They're doing big things, and it's going very quickly.
And I will add, they're very transparent too. I mean, I don't know that I've ever worked with a construction company that is just so open with what they're doing.
Right. It's good leadership is what it boils down to, and good people on the job. They're putting up brick. I will tell you that it's another character issue, and just for your interest, we've had to tear down some brick because it wasn't right.
That's right.
Next time they messed up, the contractor tore it down and told us afterwards that they tore it down.
That's great.
So that's what good people do. The auditorium, if you haven't seen the pictures that's floating out, the auditorium seats are in at Vicksburg High School, almost completed.
And they're green.
They're real green.
They're comfy.
And they're going to be very comfy. It's a radically different environment. FYI, we're getting some prices on replacing the curtains. That was something that was not in the project, so we're trying to finish that off and make that space wonderful. The next big effort that'll start there will be the gym lobby expansion. So they're moving around and phasing, and we've worked with the administration and worked with the principal to make sure they know what's going on from a phasing point of view, that we've got kids on task learning at all times, and that's obviously our priority. It's extremely complex project, so everybody's been very patient, and I really appreciate it. The athletics phase 1 project has continued to make progress at both campuses. Y'all know the turf's down, the asphalt base is down, and just a reminder, we've held off on doing the track surface until we've got a lot of the next phase work done, so we don't tear up our track with construction work.
And not that I was shocked, but just for the record, I appreciate Gary doing everything he needed to do to make sure that those games started when those games were supposed to be there. We didn't have to transfer any other schedules.
Gary was a very small part of a lot of people that worked hard to do that.
We were right on time.
We are. We were able to play ball. The baseball field at Vicksburg High School, if you've been by there, has been laser graded. The stone is in, ready for the turf. We had a few folks that went free riding on the outfield this past weekend, so they're having to do some corrective work in left field. But that's the nature of construction. Stuff happens. At Warren Central on the baseball field, if you've been by there, they've been redoing all the outfield, working on getting it ready for their turf, as well as getting it ready for playing baseball next season. As you know, the Vicksburg Stadium baseball will not be ready for this spring because it's tied into the bigger construction project. Warren Central's, we're reusing their existing stadium and expanding it. So that's one of the reasons you'll see the lights proposal here in a minute on bidding on that. But we've got to have grass. We've got to be playing ball in January. So there's a lot going on there to make sure that happens. And again, your staff, Coach Naylor, everybody has been wonderful to work with to make sure we do what we're supposed to do and meet the schedules. The softball fields are making progress as well. They're on similar schedules of getting their turf done so that they'll be playing ball in the spring and doing what we said we were going to do. Warren Central High School still making major progress. You don't see as much of it because it's been underground. But they're getting ready to pour their first slab, and then you will start seeing block come up there like you have at Vicksburg High School. Major utilities there. One of the items is on your agenda here in a minute. I'll talk about separately. But the building pad is ready. The foundation work has been done, and you'll see some vertical things happening there in a big way. The interior renovations continue to occur at night and weekends. Again, your staff has been working wonderful. We're working on the loop road around the back, and it's taken a lot of patience. Everybody's a part of a team. It doesn't happen just by the contractors, and I appreciate everybody. Academy of Innovation, those of you that were at the groundbreaking, it was an amazing event. Your kids are wonderful, and they're working. If you walk out the front door, you'll see dust flying. That contractor is a serious contractor as well. They're a major player in the state, and they know what they're doing. They understand you make money by finishing your job ahead of schedule.
That's right.
It's an amazing concept in this world today, but they're doing great things, and they will continue to. We've got an item on the agenda regarding a easement for Entergy that I'll talk about in a minute. Beechwood has started work. That project was awarded to Thrash as well. They will be starting the parking lot in the back of the building next to the baseball stadium that's shared by baseball and Beechwood. That should be starting this week, actually. The interior renovations will be taking place at night, and all kinds of coordination that has to be done there. We're looking at finishing up a couple of things that were not in the original project that need to be added, some additional floors that need to be done, and that'll be coming back to you soon. You see the completed projects. We've already talked about the re-roofings on those, and just a reminder that both of them came in under budget, and we returned money back to the district in change orders. The design projects, phase 2, we had a final review today with staff to make sure everybody's communicating. The scheduling is a big deal on athletics because everybody plays at different times, and you got to start and finish. And construction work on the football stadium can't take place till you're through playing on it this fall. So hopefully that takes folks into the playoffs. But as soon as that's done, we will have the project bid and ready to start construction. No change in scope. Everything that you've seen is just as it was. We plan on bidding that November the 12th, so we'll be coming to you at your November board meeting for approval. Hopefully we've made the changes to get it in budget. There's been substantial work done to try to do that. Same thing on the junior highs. As you know, we made renovations, made changes in design on those, which we showed you last time. They will bid in December 17th prior to your December board meeting. Hopefully we'll get those all signed before the holidays so that when the first of the year hits, that road is going to be a busy road, is all I can say for the next year. Bomar, Deb, if you will kind of pull up a PDF, let me give you some updates here of what's going on at Bomar. This slide that you see here is showing the existing building in the black lines on white. You see the curved wall at the top, that's the auditorium. The front door is in your upper left, and you've got north-south classrooms and east-west classrooms. Originally, as you recall, we were planning on putting the new addition out adjacent to the hill, which is the meandering line that you see there. That didn't work out real well, and in the interest of intelligent thinking and wisdom, we're advising that we stay off of that hill. The final soil borings, as I mentioned before, required us to go 80 feet deep because of the hill. We found some other concerns regarding some erosion that just will be smart to not build on the edge of that hill. So what we're showing here is a recommendation to move the building closer into the existing building. Basically where the trailers are now is what we're proposing. Similar program, same exact square footage. The building will be 20 feet off of the existing buildings. We reviewed that with Archives and History. They gave us their blessings today on this concept. You will have one hard connection at the north end like we previously did from an interior connection. The south connection will be a canopy connection. One of the things that we changed programmatically, which doesn't cost anything in money, is we originally had multiple classrooms in that addition. Well, what we're proposing, and this came with the recommendation of the principal, is to put the library in this expansion and turn the existing library back into 2 classrooms. So it was a net add. It gave him some flexibility and organization to keep grades in a contiguous manner, and it will just function much better as an elementary school. It also gives you a new library that will be a showpiece there that I'll show you a little more of here in a second. Flip to the next slide, Dan. I turned directions on you here, so forgive me. The north is to your right, but you'll just see a little bit larger floor plan here. It is a double-loaded corridor instead of a single-loaded corridor, but as you'll recall, the original design was a fairly creative building. This one will be too. This library will focus onto a student courtyard space with a lot of glass in it. We've got some colored lights, some not neon, but LED colored lights that will be going in the library and the hallways. And the 3 classrooms that face the hill will still be an all-glass wall. You'll see the diagonal through there, so it'll still be a showpiece that those kids will have a great view. It also gives you playground area on the grass between the hill and the building. And this will be zoned where you can have your lower elementary kids on that playground and upper ones on the existing playgrounds out to the north. The building will be first-class building. That's all I can say. It'll be nice. If you'll flip one more slide, and these are very, very early freehand sketches, and I apologize. You'll see real renderings once I get a real architect working on it instead of me. This is a sketch of the library. The shelves will all be movable in here so that you can reconfigure space as needed, because one of the things we know is that change is going to happen. We just don't know quite all what that'll be. Got a lot of glass here open to the hallway. You'll see the golden rectangle done in colored lights up above in the exposed structure. So we're trying to make it a fun space designed for little kids, but still to be a creative space for the older kids that are going to school here as well. So I wanted to give you that update. That's a change, and I wanted to keep you informed of what we're doing. And if you got any problems with that, now's the time to tell me, because we're blowing and going on that change. By the way, we've had additional soil borings done there to make sure that we're okay. We're in much better dirt up on the building side of the hill. We'll still do some over excavation, but we're no longer having to build on pilings. That saves $10 a square foot on that building to not have to go on pilings.
And in addition, that's the 5th rendering he did of the new. So he did a great job reaching back out to the buildings, making sure we were satisfied with the solutions, and I appreciate it.
No problem. That's what I'm here for. That project is currently anticipated to bid in February, so we'll be hitting the ground when things dry out after the winter and start construction in the spring, and should not impact the overall schedule at all. All the existing interior renovations are just as you previously have seen, and they will take place after hours. The Bovina and South Park projects are making major progress. They're scheduled to bid in December, which means they will be going out for bid in November. No changes in scope there, but we're getting those ready to go out for bid. The Dana Road and Sherman re-roof projects are moving, and that includes the intermediate schools, as there being one building on each of those campuses. Those re-roofings only is going to go out for bid here in October and receive bids in November. So that was always been a part of our schedule. That work can be done while school's going on. And we found some ways to save some money there and still maintain 20-year, no dollar limit warranties on the roofs. And Bill's been great to work with on getting those projects ready to go. The other projects that are not on here are fixing to start. The Warrenton and Redwood and all of the other projects will happen in the spring. We've got dates on those, but I'm trying not to be too confusing. We're making progress on all of them, but they'll all bid in the spring. Everything should be under construction by April of next year for the entire district. Shakita keeps telling me to slow down, but you got a horse going at a quick pace, and we're making good progress. We just want to make sure we do it right. A couple of these have drug out because of quality, and I refuse to put out bad sets of documents and try to be more quality focused, and that's the reason you see the schedules. A couple of items that relate to progress that are on the agenda. We received bids on the lighting for Warren Central baseball today, and we broke that out separate because it is an existing field that has to be up and running come January. So we had a tight time frame to get that bid. The bids came in. South Electric was the low bidder out of 3 bidders. It was $3,000 under budget, $322,000 that we're recommending that you award to the lowest and best bidder, which is South Central Corporation. So that's an action item that I would suggest you take if you're so willing to do so.
Is there any discussion? Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the lowest bid, the lowest best bid, Southwest on the lights at Warren Central.
I second that motion.
The motion's been made for the lowest bid,
Lowest best.
lowest and best bid. We're ready to vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Dave, I've got you a letter with proper wording on all of that you'll get first thing in the morning. The other item is a right-of-way with Entergy on AOI. I think, Briggs, you've been informed of this and have checked everything. It's something that you need to approve just to give them right-of-way access for the utilities to the building.
I did make a slight change to it. I don't know if you saw that.
I assumed you were doing what needed to be done. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
We took. Jason had the changes, and I worded it on the cover page for this one with changes that Briggs
Okay.
that you made.
I took out the indemnification paragraph and the slight change to the conveyance. They had a warranty in there that.
There should be a packet.
It should. We've done it before with Entergy, so it shouldn't be a problem for them.
Entergy's are thrilled to work with. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That does need your approval.
Is there, yeah, guys, is there any discussion? Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the change by the attorney on the electrical and the AOI.
I second.
easement.
You second. The motion is for the changes that the attorney.
No, it's the.
It's right
It's
away.
the- it's
The
the-
right of way for the easement with
Yeah.
the changes that the attorney has made. Is there a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion so carries.
Okay, one more item. At Warren Central, you know, we've hit just every utility known to man and some that were not known. We found another one. It was just fascinating. The contractor was taking up a sidewalk, of all things, and found a manhole with an active sewer line underneath it that had been covered over by sidewalks at some point in time. So it clearly was a surprise and clearly was a latent condition. It's covered out of our contingency. It's just that we told you on anything over a certain amount, it would come to y'all for approval instead of just going to Chad. So we're requesting approval of a not to exceed of $33,537 via contingency. Does not change the contract amount or the contract.
So what do they have to do to remediate that? What do they?
They got to relocate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't go where it.
Yeah, it's in the way of building.
Okay.
Can't put it back under a sidewalk.
No, we're not going to. We don't want to surprise somebody else in 50 years. So I'd request your approval on that item if you have any questions.
Are there any questions?
Make a motion, we approve the change order request. Change order.
Second.
The motion has been made to change the direction of where the sewer is located at Warren Central. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion so carries.
Any questions from any of you on anything that's going on? Busy. It will rain again at some point, so those who are getting dust all over their car, be thankful at this point.
Thanks for being a good juggler.
That's what I got to do. I appreciate y'all.
All right, Ms. Burks, it's you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'll start first with our bank reconciliations. We have now reconciled June and July. Again, we're still in the process of closing our FY19. So until that's officially closed and reports are sent to MDE, you'll still be seeing bank reconciliations from June up until September. The reports are due to MDE October 15th. So hopefully I know at the October board meeting, you'll have your final FY19 numbers, and we'll be focusing from that point on FY20. Okay. In FY20, we moved on to our casino revenue. The first month in FY20 is August, and so far we've received $58,907 in casino revenue. I've adjusted the spreadsheet just a little bit so you'll be able to see from inception to now how much we've actually collected in casino revenue. And there's a total there from 1993 to current. We've actually collected $18 million in casino revenue. And if you look at the chart, it'll show you year to year and month over month comparisons. And if you start and see now from 2018 to current, we're actually starting an upward climb with our casino revenue. So that's what's going on.
I said praise the Lord.
Oh, okay. I thought you said it was lower. Yeah, so that's a good sign. So okay, moving on to our ad valorem. Compared to where we were this time last year, 2019 to 2020, we've actually collected a little less month to month in comparison to year, and a lot of that you'll see is if you look at the chart, you'll see that the assessments also dropped a little bit, so that has something to play, has a little bit to do with the collection at this point. Last year we had collected 1.76%. This year we've only collected 1.64. So there's a slight decline in our collections thus far. MAAP. MAAP starts on a different month than our other revenue collections. MAAP, we have collections showing for July and August versus August for the other two. Thus far, for the month of July and August, we've collected $4.3 million in comparison to the $4.275 we collected last year. And if you look across the ways, we've pretty much been steady with our Avalon collections around this time of year. All right. The one everybody's really wanting to hear about, our cash flow. As of now, based on where we are with our estimated June collections and expenditures, we're projecting to end the year with a fund balance of $23.16 million, compared to when we ended the year at $20.99 million. So we're looking at about $2.16 million surplus at the end of the year. But again, that is without including all of our transfers and all of that. So once we complete all of our in-district transfers and make sure that we've closed our books, we'll have a more realistic view of where we should end. Earlier in the year, I think we projected to end about $1 million truly, and that was when we were doing the budget. I asked the board to allow us to use that to fund the district-wide raises that you guys approved. Moving on to 2020, our cash flow statement. Again, I show a $23 million beginning balance simply because that is where we're showing right now as the end of year for 2019. As we close the books, as that ending balance change, our beginning balance for 2020 will change as well. And currently, we show that it shows that we're looking at a $2.6 million decrease from our fund balance. And it's only because we have not completed 2019, but I wanted to be able to show the overall impact of the reduction for the ad valorem that we experienced. So budget-wise, we should only have a $1.3 million impact, but I wanted to be able to show the overall impact of the ad valorem assessments going down.
So the majority of that ad valorem adjustment was due to the energy.
Yes. Okay. That's all I have on the financials.
Make a motion that we accept Ms. Burke's financial report.
Second.
There's a motion to, we don't have to vote on that, do we?
Yeah, you do. Just accept to receive. And it's not approving it, just receiving it.
There's been a motion to accept the financial report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion so carries.
Thank you.
I think that's you, Elizabeth.
All right. So I'm sad to say this is probably the last time for a while that I'll be in front of the board. This is the final set of documents in connection with the overall projects and the bond issues that you've all approved. This is in connection with the limited tax note. You'll remember at your last meeting we had no protests that were filed, so we are able to move forward with the issuance of the limited tax notes. These will provide financing for the rest of the projects under your that you had approved earlier on. So this is a resolution, bond resolution, approving a not to exceed 21 million limited tax notes and all of the supporting documents that are necessary in connection with the sale of those notes.
Motion to approve.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Support.
All those in we need to vote.
Right. There you go.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. And just so you know, on the GO that we adopted at your last meeting, we're closing that October 11th, so you'll have funding for those GO projects. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Is this you again, Ms. Burke?
Okay. She said that this is the last time, but they did tell me they was ready to miss me. So.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Y'all done a great job.
Okay, so before you now, I have one of the things that's required by MDE as a part of our end of year task is to bring back to you our amended budget for 2019. Basically, any changes that we've made to budget line items, they would like to get approved version of any final budget items we have. So in front of you, I have a budget packet that lists where we stand with our current budget, any adjustments we've made throughout the year, and I'm asking the board to approve the new budget amendment.
Make a motion that we approve the amended budget presented.
Second.
The motion has been made to approve the new FY19 amended budget. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We are on to consent. Do we have any items to be pulled?
Can I ask the attorney a question, which would determine whether you reviewed any of these contracts? You reviewed all these? There are a lot on here.
I have reviewed many of them. I think the ones that I haven't been reviewed have addendums attached that we prepared, and that's correct, right? Addendums on all the ones that they enter into the agreements that we require them to enter into. Yes. So one of the two is taking place. Either I've reviewed it or it's got the addendum attached. And sometimes it's both.
Okay. I don't have any to pull, but if we do approve all the items on the consent agenda, I would just ask that we make the motion include 23 to have a date put on it.
You want to probably need to pull that so the minutes will
Okay, so we'll
pull
pull
23.
then.
Coach, you got anything? Nothing to pull. Is there a motion?
I make a motion we accept the presented consent agenda with the exclusion of 23.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of the motion with the exception of number 23?
Okay,
All those in favor?
Just
Agenda?
J23, you're covering K and L, right?
K and L, yes.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The consent agenda has passed. Brian, I guess you got
Yeah,
23?
the service agreement for Next Gen Consulting doesn't have a start date. It needs a date.
That would be my I didn't do a start date because what I'm trying to do is assess exactly what I need them to work on as far as helping and as needed. So I have a budget limit of what I can do for them, and it's based on software help that I need as far as pulling in old data and helping us reconcile that and getting us ready to finalize what we're doing with our year-end close.
But under that, start date could be today.
That's fine. Okay. I just want to make sure that he understood.
And then you start it and use it as needed up to a certain budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that cool?
Yep. Make a motion that we accept J23.
Yes, sir.
J23 with the
Second.
Second.
with the amended check start date.
The motion is to accept J23 with the change on the start date or the addition of the start date. Are you ready to vote? All those in favor? Aye. Motion so carries. We are on to discussion items. 16th section, is that you, Briggs?
I looked at that. I think those are just for your information. I didn't see anybody with 60 days late. I think there were some that were 30 days, but they've got their few more days to get straight with the district. But nothing else that I saw.
Yeah, it's all for information on.
And I see something on our handwritten notes, but it's not on my computer about the Rubicon demolition. Are we not at the point of approving that?
No, I'm sorry. They're not asking for the district to approve it. The Department of
Environmental quality?
yes, thank you. Is basically allowing the homeowners to approve it. That is just because we are the landowners, allowing us to know that they're offering that service to the homeowners at no charge. So that's the only reason why we included it, just as an FYI.
Yeah, just more FYI on this. We've got at least 3 properties in the district that were damaged pretty significantly with floods, and this company has got some grant money apparently, and they're able to tear down the homes. The issue for us is the school district owns the land, but in some of these cases they may have, whether it's a mobile home or some other kind of home that's attached to the land, may be damaged, and we want to make sure that we get them all. I know we've got 1, maybe 2 of the 3 that have agreed to the demolition of the homes, but we want to make sure we don't want to authorize somebody to go in there and demolish if they still have personal items in the home or different things that they want to take care of, and we're going to make them sign off so that they can't come back against the district to
So,
say
in
the
destruction of these homes, would they be allowed to put something back on the property or not?
I recommended only to Ms. Wansley. I don't think I've talked to the superintendent or to Ms. Burke. I've recommended that we probably go with, in these cases, mobile homes. And here's why. Some of these are old homes. They're old leases. Some go back 50, 60, 70 years. And what was done back in those days, a lot of times people would have the land and they would actually build a home on the land. And that becomes problematic if the home ever gets out of code or or there's a problem they can't pay off and somebody wants it. The most that the mortgagee could get would be a leasehold interest in the home. They couldn't own the property, obviously, because the school district owns it. And I have dealt with that in another district. So my recommendation would be, although this is not binding by anyone, is that you ought to either have them come back to the mobile home, or we would have to work out some arrangement if they wanted to put something that's more attached.
So if they currently have a structure that we're having torn down, they have to come back to get permission to put something back on it.
Yes.
Right.
That would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So do we need to make a motion on this?
Well, I
That
guess we could
recommendation?
approve the demolition subject to the tenants all signing off on a waiver and approval for the district. Go ahead and do that.
I make a motion that we approve the demolition pursuant to waiver signed by the current leasing.
Second.
The motion has been made to approve the demolition subject to the leasee's agreements and understanding. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor? Aye. Motion so carries. Monthly improvement, is that you, Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, it's me first, and I defer to Doc.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We are scheduled again to come before you for our monthly board reports for our schools that are in improvement. We are scheduled to have an official letter that will come from MDE if we have any changes to the list of schools that we have that's in school improvement. Now remember that it was because of our students with disabilities was the reason why our schools were identified for improvement. So tonight, I have the principals here with me tonight, and we're going to go over where we landed, kind of the autopsy of where we landed with our percentages. So, Ms. Pickford, if you could pull up that information, please.
The first one I have up is Vicksburg High School.
Okay, I'm going to take Warren Central Intermediate because Tanya's doing volleyball and football tonight. So I will take Warren Central Intermediate. So if you take a look at Warren Central Intermediate, if you look at the very top box where it shows the overall school goal, the schools had to set those goals at the beginning of the 2018-2019 school year. And each month we would come before you on the progress that was being made toward that goal. So what I want to draw your attention to is the last box where it says 2018-2019 map. And there you can see, according to the goal, where the school landed. So you can, if you take a look at Warren Central Intermediate, you'll see that there was an increase from the goal that she set in all of the boxes except for science. So science did not grow in that particular box. So that's what I definitely wanted to point out to you tonight. And also on the second page, let's picture you go up. Now the second page is the subgroup where we were identified as the deficiency. So if you notice, she set a goal for 50%. If you look at that top box for the targeted group in 2018-19, but where she landed was 28% and 28%, respectively, in reading and math. And I will say that this school did increase 70 points from last year's scores. So they did show a tremendous amount of work.
Dr. McGee, do you remember how many kids this was?
No, ma'am, I don't, but I can
It
get
was not that many, I just can't remember.
and I can get that for you.
I can't remember either. Okay, no, that's fine. Thank you.
Vicksburg Junior High.
That's it.
There it is.
There we go.
All right, again, we'll draw your attention to the last block on the left. This is where we ended up at. With our goals, I did not have say in goal setting at the beginning of last year. It was a different principle with that. But as we tracked our progress, you will see that we also had gains in all of our categories. Overall, we had a 52-point gain this school year. We made significant strides in our LPS, or our bottom 25 growth, in both our math and ELA, especially our ELA. And if you would turn to the second page with our subgroup, students of IEPs, you can see those numbers reflected in our growth with a 30% for ELA and a 28% growth in our LPS math students. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. I'm excited to say that we exceeded our expectations in every subject area last year with the goal that they set. We banked our science scores from the previous year. If you look at the bottom, the SPED students, the next one, we grew in the percent growth area in both reading and math. Some of the things that we're implementing this year to help meet the proficiency with the SPED is we're doing small group instruction twice a week in the regular classrooms in English and in math. And we also have a learning strategies class in place where we're helping to meet the accommodations of all the students. So those are our goals that we've set to meet the proficiency part of it.
Good afternoon, Vicksburg.
All right. I'm trying, Ms. Williams.
Take your time.
See, I thought this was
So I'm just let him drive.
Deborah. I know. I need to let her take that.
I did think that's who was doing it.
Look at how fun that is.
It's short in the beginning. You go back up. There.
There we go. Yeah, it's the one thing.
Okay, if you look at the top, for 2018, 2019, we set those goals in the three categories: proficiency, growth all, and our bottom 25. You look down at the bottom category, 2018, 2020, for reading, ELA, according to the goals that we set for ourselves. We're in green. We did meet all of those goals that we set for ourselves. In math, we did not meet the goals that we had for ourselves. And in science, we did not meet that goal either, but the state was kind to us. They did allow us to keep what we had the year before because it was a new benchmark. Don't record this. That's one nice thing that the state has done. Okay, turn to the next page. On this page, if you're looking at the bottom, again at the top it has the goal that we had at the beginning of the year for the group that we're here about, our IEP, our SPED population. In the beginning didn't set a goal for proficiency, not saying that they can't, but want to make everything fair for them. We did set a goal for them in growth. Down at the bottom in reading proficiency, for those students, there was a drop as well as in growth. And in math, our IEP students, our SPED students had an increase. So our data, what our students without IEPs are doing, and our students with IEPs doing something totally different. But working on getting them all growing and going in the right directions.
Thank you.
All right, Warren Central High School. If you will look at the first page down at the bottom left, some of our numbers are a little bit different because at the high school level, a lot of our scores get banked. Until a student hits 10th grade, so they may be a repeat 9th grader, their scores don't hit us. So in some areas, we actually improved higher than what our scores recognized this year. You'll see there in math, we were right at a 30% on the MAP score as what the state gave us, but we actually had over a 36% proficiency, which was about a 7% proficiency increase for the year. Our math goals and science goals, we all met those last year. Our reading proficiency goal, we did not meet the goal that we set, but we did increase from the previous year. And our our English growth for all in bottom 25, we did not meet. If you scroll down to our IEP students, last year we had 0% that scored proficient. This past year we had 10. Growth for all, we were only at a 33%. Math, we met both of our goals that we set there. And you see our growth for our SPED was actually at 80%, which was on par with the rest of our students in math. And then in science, we did not meet the goal as far as proficiency, but we did meet it in passing. One thing that we've done this year, and this has been something that we've never had in our building, to help with our ELA deficits, we hired an elementary teacher to come in that's a reading and a language arts specialist that's in our building this year that is working with our students that have IEPs and our bottom 25% lowest performing students. And so that is something that you'll see there designated in our funds for this year, that we have hired that person to come in to assist with our ELA deficits. Questions?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Rhonda Dorsey. I am standing instead of my principal, the amazing Dr. Tamika Davis, and I am presenting Vicksburg High School's data.
She didn't just skip out now. She's at a
She's in Nashville.
Nashville
Yes, she's
Academy.
in Nashville. Drawing your attention to the bottom chart. I'll let you get there. For 2018-2019 MAP data, you will see that we had a reading proficiency of a growth of 25%, overall growth in reading of 51%, but the bottom 25, we fell a little short at 51%. Math, the proficiency for the 18-19 MAP data, we had 17%, which is a decrease since the last benchmark. Also, the percent of growth overall is 78%. The bottom 25 grew by 99%.
Wow.
Outstanding. But we just, yes, Vicksburg High School. And I just want to kind of, draw your attention to the third benchmark assessment. Looking at that data is a little skewed. So we want to, we weren't there last year, but, looking at that data, I would challenge the accuracy of that data. There's a lot of red there. Okay? And our next page with the SPED, targeted group, the bottom chart for 18-19 MAP data. Our reading kind of remained the same. We had 13% proficiency there. Math went down. We were at 6% there. But our growth, we were in the green. The percentage of growth for SPED was 17%. And that math, we had an overall 83% growth rate there. So we're very proud of our babies for growing so fast in the math area. Thank you so much.
That's it? All right.
Make a motion that we accept school status report.
Second.
Motion's been made to accept the school status report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion so carries. We're on to 2020 MSBA.
Yep. Are these first views?
Yes.
Right down.
And these are suggestions from Mississippi School Board Association. I was able to attend the policy training on the beginning of the month. Coach was there as well. So they gave us a list of suggestions. If you look on your docket, anything in green is a required change, but everything else is suggested by the Mississippi School Board Association.
Is it 30 days?
Correct.
What do we need to do with number 4? It's the survey. Everybody turn it in?
No action.
You don't need
There's no action to take, right?
No.
No.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Make a motion, we go into closed session to determine the agenda for executive session.
Second.
We are in closed session. Thank you.